Welcome back to 1 Foot In. I'm Ohana. He's Winn. Episode 18.
Woo!
Wow.
Are we right about that?
I think we're right about... I mean, listen, I checked. The last one says episode 17.
Okay, well then most likely.
So we're
right.
most likely right about that. But wow, it's been flying. And episode 18...
We would have more, too, if we didn't have to cancel some.
Yeah. Yeah, we've covered that. We've talked about it, right? No worries.
We've clipped that.
But, even episode, which means a preview episode. But also,
that's a bar.
in this college football playoff for ranking new world that we're living in for the past 2 weeks, it's also a reaction episode. Mm-hmm. So we got a little bit of everything today, as will be the case for most Thursdays coming up. But let's start off with, of course, newest college football playoff rankings. Second edition came out on Tuesday, I believe, which means we've got to react to it. And something's happened, some movement due to some games. And I want to ask you, which of these teams do you think, at this point, outside of the obvious Oregon, outside of Oregon, really, who controls their own destiny?
The team we've talked the most about is Indiana.
Yeah.
They play Ohio State, not this week, but the following week because they're on a bye. You win that game, you're in.
Yeah.
You lose that game, you have the threat of being out, which is really unfortunate, I would say, for them. But that's the way it is. Tennessee is a one-loss team right now. They still have to play Georgia. Well, they are playing Georgia this week, which we'll talk about. I think outside of Georgia, though, that's kind of all they've got, really, struggle-wise for the rest of the season. I mean, they play Vanderbilt, so, sneaky little Vanderbilt dub.
I mean, they're pesky.
Those are the last two games they have, right?
They're frisky.
They've got Georgia, UTEP, and Vanderbilt.
Yes.
So Tennessee, I mean, those are really right now the two that really stand out to me because, likewise, the teams they play are in the same boat. I think Georgia right now is on the really 50-50 line. I think Alabama winning that game is tough for them because they lost to Alabama.
Yeah.
But then if you want to back up and look at the other stuff, I mean, Boise State is another team where it's just win out your season and you should be good. But that's not a free guaranteed thing.
I mean, they have to win out their season because they are a Group of 5 team.
Yeah, they have to.
And so they have to be that Group of 5 champion.
Yeah, they lost to Oregon.
Yeah.
They only lost to Oregon by 3, though, man.
That's
crazy.
I mean, that was Oregon.
But they've got San Jose State, Wyoming, and Oregon State, so they don't have any excuse to lose. But I mean, the two that really that control their destiny the most are Indiana and Tennessee, because I think Tennessee deserves that spot. Losing to Arkansas, inexcusable. Really, just inexcusable.
Yeah. I
don't know, but if A&M beats Texas though in the last week of the season, then what? Then what they gonna say?
Right. So if that happens, I guess, I mean, listen, ultimately, if you look at any of these teams in the top 17 outside of, say, like Kansas State, if they win out, there's going to be an argument that, or if they win out, really, they'll make it, essentially. But some of these paths are tougher than others.
Yeah.
And some of the requirements are tougher than others. Okay, because let's look at this. So obviously Oregon, Ohio State. Ohio State's in a trickier situation because technically, they do control their own destiny from here on out, but not in the. They have less room for error. I feel, I'd hope. You know what? Let me say that. I hope they have less room for error than Indiana does because they already have that one loss, and it came to Oregon. And so, in my head, I feel like Ohio State should need to. And obviously, what happens with other teams matters a lot. I would prefer a 2-loss Ohio State team, say they lose to Indiana, and don't make the Big Ten championship. I'd rather a 2-loss Indiana or a 2-loss Ohio State over a 1-loss Notre Dame, or even over a 2-loss Alabama.
What about a 1-loss Penn State?
Well, over a 1-loss. I mean, Ohio State beat Penn State.
Yeah.
I think Penn State at 4, and we'll get to that in a second, but I think Penn State at 4 is really interesting, and it tells you a lot about what the committee thinks.
I don't get it.
I don't get it
We're
either.
going to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. I think, and I don't want to touch on this too much, because I'm going to touch on it a bit later. Whoops. Well, no, you know what? I'm not going to touch on it a bit later. In a way, I'll touch on it a bit later. So let me touch on this right now. I think the wild card here, or sort of the sore thumb sticking out, is Georgia at 12. Because Georgia at 12 is the conversation. Do they actually control their own destiny? Let's say Georgia goes out and loses to Tennessee
then
this
they're
week.
done.
Then they should be done.
I think they're done.
But there is a world.
You don't think so?
Well, listen, I'm gonna really dive deep into, I guess, my big issues with the 3-loss Georgia at the end of this episode. But I think there's a world where 3-loss Georgia could get in, not because they deserve it, because honestly, right now they don't deserve to get in. I mean, they're at 12. If this was how it would be, they wouldn't get in because obviously Boise State's at 13. The group 5, they'd get in over them. I don't think Georgia right now deserves to get in. I think a 3-loss Georgia team, depending on how things fall, let's say Alabama should win out. Okay, Alabama should win out. So Alabama at this point, I think, is a pretty safe bet to make it.
I don't know, dude. Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma is scary to absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
But I think they're a threat. I think where things get interesting is the Big 12 wrinkle of it.
Yeah.
Because BYU right now is in that 9-0 6 seed, but here's the thing. If I'm being totally honest, I could very easily see, let's say Colorado and BYU, that's the Big 12 championship. Right now there's the top 2 teams in the Big 12. Let's say Colorado and BYU are in the championship game. Who has the 2 best players on the field?
Yeah.
Colorado. Who do you think right now would win that game?
Colorado.
I agree with you. And I think in that scenario, BYU doesn't get in. As a 1-loss conference champion, I think the committee would put in a 3-loss Georgia team.
Over 1-loss BYU.
Oh, I do think that would happen. It would be ridiculous. It would be absurd, but I absolutely see that world existing. And in that scenario, think about it. Georgia would get in. Tennessee would get in because that 3rd loss for Georgia would come at the hands of Tennessee, and they would win out after that. UTEP, Vanderbilt. Oh, Frisky Vanderbilt. Whatever.
Frisky Vanderbilt. Pavia didn't get another year eligibility.
He did it. He's going to be playing with his all sneaky upset spot for Tennessee there. Pavia without another year of eligibility.
Oh, dude, last game of the season.
Hair on fire.
Is it in Vandy?
Last game of his career.
I think it's in Vandy.
In Vandy.
Oh. They're going to be playing that boat horn, boy.
Oh. That's a sneaky spot. Put a pin in that one.
Pavia to the NFL, 1st-round pick.
Simple. But then the ACC.
I hate the ACC.
Like, what is going on? Miami's at 9. And then, I mean, they're the highest-ranked ACC team. Then you have SMU at 14.
Dude.
I don't know, dude.
Dude, I can't wait for that conference championship game.
I can't wait.
It's going to be so weird.
I can't wait. Is it even going to be Miami? What if Miami doesn't make the conference? They can win out and not make it.
Well, who else is above them?
Clemson.
Dude,
it's SMU at 1, Clemson at 2. And so if Miami wins out, doesn't make the ACC championship, I mean, they probably still get in, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
And then
I don't think Clemson's going to find a way in.
But then that's they get in, and then whoever the ACC championship is gets in. That's another spot taken away from what the ranking is right now, because right now there's only one ACC team in, and so someone's gonna get bumped. And I'm just telling you, watch out.
I'm really interested to see what happens from this Indiana-Ohio State game. And also, too, like, I saw a post about this that I thought was interesting. I mean, teams have been beating Michigan this year, and the teams that have beat Michigan this year have kind of just been at the top of this list. Like, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana.
Texas.
They all, for some reason, that win is carrying a lot of weight.
They
for
are
some
defending
of these
national
teams.
champions.
Yeah, dude. Orgy out there balling. I don't know about all of that, dude.
I have a question for you. I have a question, because I heard this discussion recently, or this past week. Let's say Ohio State and Georgia are both 2-loss teams. Who would you put in?
Ohio State.
I agree with that.
100%.
I agree with that.
Ohio State has been better than Georgia has in every game. Plus, the game that they did lose was to the number 1 team, Oregon.
Yeah.
Who they barely lost to at the end. And then their other loss is Indiana, who's undefeated. And then the teams that they've had to play, they've beaten pretty well. So I'm out. And dude, Georgia is not. They're having a blip year. Like they're supposed to have a blip year.
Yeah.
But they're having a blip year. Like they can't be a fully elite program all the time. It's so weird to see Carson Beck go back and sit on the bench after throwing a pick, and he's talking to Jaden Rashada.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I do not like Georgia this year at all.
Yeah, I agree with you, but there are people arguing the SEC to lost Georgia. That's it. That is an argument, and I think it's a ridiculous one because
I don't think they should.
Ohio State's resume, Ohio State's best win over Penn State is better than Georgia's best win, which Texas. No, I don't actually believe that.
Yeah,
but
I would say they're. You could say they're equal.
Yeah, well,
maybe a little better.
I think Texas is a better.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Texas is significantly better than Penn State.
Yeah,
but I think resume is what I'm getting at. I think Ohio State's resume is better than Georgia's, and that 2 loss. The fact that they only have 2 losses, they have 2 losses right now. They haven't played only a 2 loss.
Yeah, they have not. I mean, they could have coughed that game up to Kentucky. Florida was beating them.
Yeah, so but again, put a pin in this Georgia discussion. I'm gonna get back to Georgia at the end of this episode with.
Well, we're gonna get into the Georgia game right now.
Well, we are gonna get into the Georgia game right now. Georgia ranking. Game. I'll put a pin.
Yeah,
in
this is Eitan's Georgia episode.
It's been a lot of Georgia recently.
It's your Georgia year.
It's my Georgia year. That's not a good year, but.
All right. Well, I said at the beginning of the episode that Tennessee controls their destiny, and they do.
They do.
They do. And this game, no matter what, at the beginning of the season was the one that I circled, was the one that I literally sat there and deliberated over. Tennessee going into Athens. Tennessee has struggled against Georgia in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee hasn't also been good for more than 3 years, so I don't really know how fair of an accurate assumption that is. Yeah. But we looked at the spread, and we were both talking about this beforehand, that, Georgia's a 9.5-point favorite right now. So Tennessee has 1 loss. Georgia has 2. They just came off of a bad loss, and then they're at 9.5-point favorites, 5 spots behind them. So we were shocked by that. Now, Nico Tuico is questionable. He's
trying to play, I think.
He left the Mississippi State game with the head injury.
Yeah.
Was technically in concussion protocol. Speaking like I got a concussion. Shout out. Concussion protocol. But then practice Monday, Tuesday, practice Wednesday, and Heupel went on a press conference and said that he's pretty confident that he'll play. So with that baked into it, I don't know. I mean, what we do know is that we're most likely not going to have a 100% Nico. I feel like he's going to play, though, especially because of how big of a game this is.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play. And so, look, if he's not playing, it's Georgia to cover every day of the week.
Right.
Now, if he's playing, I mean, it's a different game.
It is a different
game. So
I
want to know what you think about this game and how this game is going to go because I think we should just talk about this like we expect him to play.
Yeah.
Because I think if he's not playing, we all know what the outcome is most likely going to be.
Right.
But if he is playing, what do you think?
Okay. I think it's an interesting spot. I do think it's an interesting spot because based on what we saw last week from Georgia, that 28-10 loss to Ole Miss, it's very easy for me to come out and say Georgia's really not good and they're going to lose to this week again to Tennessee and it's going to be back-to-back losses. When was the last? I don't know. Is 26? When was the last time Georgia lost back-to-back games? It's been a long time.
That is a great question.
It's been a long time.
That is a great question.
And I don't know. Okay. Tennessee is interesting because I feel like they're sneakily the most sneaky conference leader right now. They are atop the SEC. And it just has not felt like that at any point. If you ask me who was atop the SEC right now before I looked at it, I'm not upset Tennessee. I don't think they'd come to mind, but they just are. So yeah, they fully control their own destiny towards the college football playoff, or towards the SEC championship and the college football playoff, I guess. But it didn't feel that way for a long time, and I know they beat Alabama, who I don't even know what to think about it anymore at this point.
Don't like Alabama.
I still don't think Alabama is all that. I got to be honest. I think they'd be an LSU team that is whatever.
They are bad.
It's like I still don't know about Tennessee, and so there's a real part of me that thinks Georgia's gonna win this game. There really is a real part of me that thinks this, which I don't know why I'm saying as if that's some like crazy take, as if saying Georgia's gonna win hasn't been the safe bet for the past like 4 years.
Yeah.
But it just feels like I don't know that Tennessee is gonna be able to replicate what Ole Miss did. I think Jackson Dart's a better quarterback than
that's what I was just gonna say
at this point.
Because going into the Ole Miss game, you and I were very confident that Ole Miss was going to win. And we were right. Of course, because we're always right. But we also came to that notion because I think both trust Jackson Dart more than Nico. The problem is if, and I said this, if Beck turns the ball over, Ole Miss is going to capitalize and that happen. But that's now
going to turn the ball over.
Here's the problem now. Now you've got the same thing from the Tennessee side, which is if Nico turns the ball over, that's bad for Tennessee. And this is the problem with Tennessee too. You cannot go scoreless in the first half in this game, which they've done multiple times this season.
Yeah.
Multiple times this season at home. Tennessee doesn't play great on the road.
No.
They don't. That's where they lost. That's where they lost to Arkansas. That's where they almost lost to Oklahoma. They don't play great on the road.
Yeah.
And also, they haven't faced a team of the caliber of Georgia yet this season, in my opinion, whereas Georgia has, I feel like this Georgia practice week is probably insane. However, it sounds like I'm saying that this is going to be all Georgia. This, in my opinion, this is the ultimate college football game. Why? Because it rides off of pure emotion and pure who can keep their head on straightest, right? Because Tennessee on paper is similar to Ole Miss, which is we've got a fantastic defense.
Yeah.
And stop the run. Georgia's had struggles running the ball. And if they can keep Beck locked down, okay, well, then you should be good. But on the flip side of that, like I said, Georgia's been probably grinding it out this whole week long.
Yeah.
Just going insane, being like, we need this game more than we've needed anything all season long. They've played better teams. And Tennessee, I still don't trust enough to be like, hey, they're going to go out there and flatten this team.
Right.
You know, like this game could very much go either way. So, what is my prediction going to be? I'm going to go with Tennessee to win, okay, by a very slim margin. I think it's going to be a weird game, a really weird game.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that they get it done because I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because this has to be their game.
Yeah.
This has to be their game. Or else this is a failed season for them, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't know if I should go that far.
For Tennessee?
Yeah, but if they win this game, they have everything they need. And if they lose this game, then
Yeah, they should I agree with that.
You know, then Georgia would probably get in over them. They should.
Yeah, they should. At 2 loss, Georgia's getting in.
And Ole Miss would sneak in, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, well, Ole Miss would deserve it too.
That's the thing. You play in a great conference.
Yeah, I mean,
especially with Texas in there now.
Right now, you're holding on to that 5-1 conference record. You're holding on to the fact that you went out. You're making the SEC championship. If you're Tennessee, you're holding on to these things. If you lose this game, you let go of that. You're no longer that team. You're not going to make the SEC. I feel confident saying you're not going to make the SEC championship at that point.
No.
And you're not going to. Like, you could be one of those teams that falls out. That's a casualty of the ranking.
Yep.
I think I'm going to listen. Last week when we were talking after Georgia Ole Miss. Yes, last week before Georgia Ole Miss, I said if Georgia's a truly great team, then they'll go like they have been in years past. They're going to go out and they're going to win the game and they're going to show. And now I said Ole Miss is going to win because I didn't believe they're a truly great team, and Ole Miss did that. I'm no longer giving Georgia the great team benefit of the doubt. You would go out and prove it. I'm still gonna pick Georgia in this game though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Georgia because I think what they've shown, or at least what they showed in the Texas game, is that they'll rise to the occasion. And I don't think Ole Miss was that occasion for them. and that's on them. That's their fault. They should have risen to that moment. I guess they didn't respect Ole Miss enough, and credit to Ole Miss as well.
Yeah,
they completely beat them.
The way that I think about this game for Tennessee is if they can do half of what Florida did in the first half of that game, then they'll win. Because Florida's offense before Lagway went down, they were right there.
Yeah.
If Tennessee is one of the best running backs in the country in Samson.
Yeah.
They've got good receivers. They have a great defense. They have a good quarterback. If they can get it together,
in theory, they have a good quarterback.
Right? In theory,
if Nico plays great, they should win this game.
They should win the game.
If Nico plays great, and let's say he does
if he hits just 2 or 3 more of those deep shots that they call up for him, then it's theirs.
Well, let's say he does. I don't know. I mean, Jackson Dart was fine against Georgia. Obviously, played more than well enough to win the game. Let's see if Nico does an approximation plus of Jackson Dart, then why should Tennessee lose this game? It wouldn't really make sense. Yeah. If he's able to control what's happening, and obviously Ole Miss's defense, huge credit to them. But I said this, I think Tennessee's defense is a little better than Ole Miss.
We're gonna see.
So they should be capable of putting in that performance. I don't know. I'm still gonna go with Georgia though.
All right.
Because I think this is do or die.
This is definitely one of the weirdest games I've had to predict in a while, though. When it comes to a big time game like that.
Yeah, it feels almost like these two teams are, looking at themselves in a reflection,
trying to figure it out.
Well, it's almost like they've had kind of similar seasons in a way. They're both highly ranked and highly regarded, but disappointing in a sense.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. We shall see. Well, we looked at the rankings at the beginning of the episode, and you mentioned that there was a team that you were going to talk about a little bit more. Now he's also getting to Georgia more later because it's his Georgia year.
Shout out.
The title of this episode is going to be Eitan Loves Georgia, and Peaches. So one team that I didn't even think was going to make the playoff because I never trust them,
right?
Who I've ranted about plenty, is number 4 in the most recent college football playoff ranking, and that's Penn State, who is, mind you, above undefeated Indiana.
Yeah.
And they're in the same conference.
Yeah.
Penn State is also above BYU, who is undefeated. They're above Tennessee, who has 1 loss. I know Penn State has 1 loss.
They do, to Ohio State.
What is Penn State's best win?
That's the issue.
USC? That's not.
That looked like a quality win at the time.
Yeah, but now.
Doesn't feel like that. They beat Washington 35-6.
But that's it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is your rant session, but I'm giving you the stage.
You're right. Set the stage. Yeah.
I gave you the platform. Now it's your time to dance, my boy.
Okay.
Penn
State is at 4. Like you mentioned, over teams such as you mentioned. Now, I understand, and I want to make it clear that I understand, that the ranking is not standings, right? It's not the standings, it's a ranking. If you want the standings, you can look up the standings, I suppose, wherever you may get your preferred standings for college football. But if I go to the standings for a second, Penn State is eliminated from the Big Ten championship game, essentially. They have that 1 loss in the conference, and they have the fact that Indiana and Ohio State are going to play each other, which means one of those 2 teams is going to end up. And Ohio State has the tiebreaker over Penn State because they beat them. So if Ohio State beats Indiana, wins out, they'll be in the Big Ten championship. If Indiana wins, they win out, then they're obviously going to be there, and Oregon's obviously going to be there. So Penn State, for all intents and purposes, is eliminated from the Big Ten championship. And to me, it feels like they're being rewarded for it. Because at 4, and with a schedule that's not, nobody's shaking their boots over, or Penn State's not, scared to death over the next 3 games, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland, they're going to win out. And they're going to be a 1-loss team, 11-1 team. And obviously they're not going to be the 4th seed because that's not how the new playoffs work because of, conference champions and all that. But maybe they'd be 5th. If that's what the committee's setting up, The committee's telling you that they value Penn State and their one loss to Ohio State, in which, by the way, they didn't score an offensive touchdown and blew a 10-0 lead because they just couldn't do anything. They're telling you they value that over Indiana, which has earned their way and played their way to that undefeated 10-0. They're telling you they value it over the undefeated BYU team, who's in position to win the conference championship, who actually has a chance to do that. They're telling you they value this Penn State team and what they're offering and how they've looked over all these other teams that, quite frankly, have looked better and have had more quality performances. And now you can fire back and say, but what has Indiana done? What wins has Indiana had? But they've won all their games. They have won all their games. They've gone out and played, and they've been dominant in all their wins. Yeah. So you can tell me you don't care or, look at the schedule if I'm telling you to look at the schedule. But when looking at the schedule, you also have to take into consideration what they've looked like considering of the teams they've played. And Indiana's been far superior, at least in my eyes.
We don't like Penn State.
We don't like Penn State. And really what I think I'm getting at is that it feels like the committee is trying to set up a scenario to push out one of the more deserving teams. And I'm not saying they're replacing that deserving team with Penn State, because I do think if they win out, Penn State, that's fine, make the playoff. But it feels like they're setting up a scenario where one of these deserving teams is going to get pushed out in favor of a traditional power, if you will. And I don't appreciate that. I feel like Penn State's the trigger in all this. So that's kind of what I feel about it. And I think it's absurd, and I don't like it.
I don't like Penn State either. Another team I don't like.
Yeah.
I want to touch on this real quick. Florida State. Now, I don't need to say anything about Florida State.
Terrible football.
Yeah, I can't say anything about them being bad because everybody knows that. What I will talk about, though, on Thursday, quarterback Tramel Jones is the 6th to decommit from Florida State's 2025 class. He was the longest part of that class. Well, let me read it. The longest tenured member of their 2025 class, and this comes after Norvell basically cleaned the house when it came to head coaches. And you know what? How can you blame a kid for decommitting from Florida State? How could you blame a kid? Right?
From
like, imagine that. Imagine that. Right. You're sitting there, you're 17 years old, you're like, man, I'm a 4-star, I'm a 5-star, I'm a 3-star. Like, I feel good. You know what I mean? I got a lot of offers. Last year, you're like, man, I can't wait to go to Florida State. Cool culture, trending upwards, program. Extend your coach. Everybody there's happy about everything. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you just watch that whole thing go
crashing down.
Boom. And you say to yourself, oh, my God.
Right.
No one on that field has heart. And I'm supposed to go in there at 18 years old and try to, like, turn the ship around? I don't think so. What this means for Florida State is you're not going to be good for a long time, in my opinion. I think that this is going to be a multi-year hit. Multi-year 100%. Hit. Because, again, their problem is they didn't recruit it well enough. They were shopping too much in the transfer portal, and they got greedy. And they thought that because they couldn't get a playoff spot that they'd, just be able to win out their season on that.
Yeah.
But they didn't recruit well enough, okay? And then they get all transfer portal guys. They don't build a good enough culture, and then all of a sudden, whoom, everything goes down. So then when you have a terrible transfer quarterback, your backup also stinks, and then that backup to the backup stinks. That's what happens. College football nowadays is program-based. I'm not saying it hasn't always been. But especially now, you need to have a strong core of some form, some type. I know that's harder to do with NIL and with transfer, but still, gosh, I don't think Florida State's going to be good for a while.
Yeah.
And if they are, then pay Mike Norvell whatever's on his contract. Not a dime more.
No, he's getting fired. He's getting fired.
You think so? When?
After this year.
After the season?
Yeah.
Really? I think they're gonna keep him.
I don't.
They just signed him to a ton of money.
This is
it's terrible.
It is an all-time bad season. All-time bad.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Lock of the week. Now, let's back up a second here. Moment of silence. Usually we bring the boom to Lock of the Week. Last week, Lock of the Week brought the boom to us. Oh. We got doomed.
It was a big doom.
I'm heartbroken that I did not finish my perfect season. BYU, I don't hate you. I don't. You should have, it would have been more fun if you had just lost that game, honestly, for the whole thing. You know what I mean? But actually, no, I still feel good about it because I said you were going to win and you did win. So I feel okay about that. Okay, anyways. My boy Eitan had just finally hit. You were in the 500, weren't you?
I hit 500.
And you were about to.
2 wins in a row.
Was that going to be your first?
That was going to be my first above 500.
Damn.
If I won.
Now you're back in the hole.
Now I'm back in the hole.
Now the wife is angry because you sold another mortgage on the house. We're cooked. But you know what?
There's always next week. And next week is.
You know what makes a great boxer, a great fighter? You know what it is?
What is it?
It's not the guy that just throws a bunch of punches.
No.
It's the guy that gets hit. So even the guy that gets knocked down.
What does he do when he
gets
knocked down?
back up.
He gets back
up. He gets back up. And this is our time. Now, I was looking, and I walked in here today, and I said, I am not a fan of this week's Lock of the Weeks. Why? Because we're at the point of the season where teams have proved themselves.
Yeah.
So now you can't be like, oh, Indiana's only an 8-point favorite. They're not thinking of Indiana like the way I know Indiana.
Yeah.
And then Indiana wins by 30.
Yeah.
Now they kind of get things, right? Like I see South Carolina playing Missouri.
Right.
Right? Who, by the way, is 2 spots ahead. South Carolina is 2 spots ahead of Missouri ranking. So you would think, 5.5, 6.5 points, maybe. No, it's 14. And you know what? It should be 14 because Missouri sucks. And I really, really, really wanted to take South Carolina over Missouri in my Lock of the Week. And you know what? I'm gonna parlay that on my mobile device. But I think for me, this is a tough one. I will say to everybody out there listening, if you want to bet on South Carolina and Missouri to cover, that's okay. It's 14.5 though, which I don't like. I think South Carolina will beat them by 28 though. Ooh. So maybe I should just take them if I'm so damn confident, but I'm not. Oh man, should I? No. Okay, anyways.
Shout out.
Anyways, my Lock of the Week is a bit of a scary one, but it's one that he's put a lot on. I don't know if I've ever had them as mine. I don't think I have.
I don't think it's that scary, to be honest.
Oregon minus 14. Minus 14 going into Wisconsin. Now, you're probably thinking, Alex, Wisconsin is bad. I know. You're probably thinking, Alex, Iowa just beat Wisconsin 42-10. And I go, I know, and that's why I like that.
Yeah.
However, I say to you, Wisconsin can run the ball pretty well. They're figuring it out. They're not good yet. They're figuring it out, I think. And they had a bye week. But you know what? I don't care. Oregon minus 14. They could win by 2 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to win by less than 2 touchdowns.
Right.
So that's what I'm going with on this one. Eitan, what's yours?
It's interesting. We're both betting against teams coming off bye weeks. Because I'm going with Texas minus 12.5. 12.5 versus Arkansas.
Yeah. Rivalry game.
A little rivalry game. Let me tell you something about.
They try to make this a big rivalry.
Yeah, nobody really cares about it. I mean, Texas is Texas and Arkansas is Arkansas. So, with all due respect, Arkansas is coming off that bye week, which before the bye, they had 63 points hung on them by Ole Miss. 2 weeks before that, they had 34. They lost 34-10 to LSU. That was your lock, I believe. You locked that game.
What?
LSU Arkansas. A few weeks back.
I did.
Yeah, and you're right about that. They lost to Texas A&M earlier in the year. See, Arkansas, outside of that Tennessee game, loses to the best teams in the conference. That's what they do. And Texas is the best team in the conference. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I predicted them to win the national championship at the start of the year. I thought they were going to go undefeated. Obviously, that hasn't happened. Whatever. I think they're going to win out the rest of the way. Yeah, Arkansas, I don't think they have much of a chance here, to be honest. I like the 12.5. I think Texas is rounding back into form.
Yeah.
49-17 win over Florida, which obviously Aiden Warner
They came off a bye week too. They looked sharp.
Yeah, came off a bye week.
They could have hung 70 on Florida if they wanted to.
They could have. I mean, the 2 games before that were Vanderbilt, Georgia, obviously 2 not great ones. Vanderbilt they beat, but only by 3, and then Georgia they lost that game. I'm not concerned about that at this point. I think Texas is fine. I think they're back in their dominant, blowing out ways, and I think we see that a lot, especially with teams leading up to a matchup that could determine their fate against Texas A&M at the end of the season. So these are almost like 2 warm-up games, and I think when you've got warm-up games and you're a dominant team, they're gonna knock Arkansas out quickly.
Yeah, so, and the thing is like the reason that this spread is thinner than I think we would anticipate is because it's in Arkansas, but it's in Arkansas at noon. So it's like, is there really a big home field advantage there? I personally wouldn't say so, but people are saying, well, Texas hasn't looked great on the road. Well, I don't know about all that. But Tylen Green is a good quarterback for Arkansas, but that's kind of it. The line kind of stops when we're talking about the Arkansas team. And, Texas has got a great defense, and they've got a great offense. So I like that. I'm going to have to probably parlay that one in there too.
Simple.
I think we have time to touch on 2 teams that you hate real quick. We got this scratched down in the middle here.
Very quick.
This isn't Complaint Courtroom. We're going to get in there, but we're going to hit the rankings one more time because...
Why is Tulane ranked? Committee, I'm asking you, why is Tulane ranked? This is absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, it's a travesty. It's an embarrassment to the rankings, which have embarrassed themselves enough times already. But this might be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to the college football playoff rankings since college football teams have been getting ranked for the playoffs. I don't really care what the record is since Oklahoma, which, by the way, is undefeated since Oklahoma. They play a game called football, and they stink at football. They've defeated Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. Shout out. They beat USF. They beat UAB. They beat Rice. They beat North Texas. They beat Charlotte, and they beat Temple.
Why are they ranked?
Yeah, they lost to the only 2 respectable teams they played all season. Well, actually, let me take that back. They lost to Kansas State, the only respectable team they played this season, and they played to Oklahoma, and they lost to Oklahoma, which is about as embarrassing of a loss as you can get this year in college football because Oklahoma is trash. Yeah, because you don't want to hear that. But Oklahoma, sorry about it. Not good at football.
I don't like Missouri.
Darnold, not good. Yeah, you don't.
I don't like Missouri, and Missouri has a number in front of their name, and so long as Missouri has a number in front of their name, I am not happy. Period. So, Army is 9-0, and they're behind Missouri, who should be a 4-loss team. Not cool. At least. Missouri should be a 5-loss team. They should have lost to Vanderbilt. They should have lost to Oklahoma. They should have lost to Auburn, and they already have 2.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous, in my opinion.
I mean, Navy,
come on, dog.
Tulane's playing Navy.
I hate it.
Navy beat USF and Rice and Charlotte. And UAB. They did that.
All right.
Whatever.
Let's hop into. I mean, we've been complaining a lot this episode, so let's just keep the ball complaining. Rolling. All right. I made the bad mistake today of forgetting my shades.
Yikes.
Why, you may ask? Because it's cloudy outside. Which you can't see.
No.
Because you're not outside.
Can't see that.
And there's no windows.
You can't see. Basically, you can't see.
You can't see.
You don't have the eyesight for it.
You know what that is?
You can't see me.
You know what that is?
John Cena.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. Okay, anyways.
Shout out.
No complaining about John Cena in here.
No.
He is chill. Okay. Complaint Courtroom.
Yes.
That's why you get it. That's why I don't have my shades on. Okay. Eitan he's got a lot on his mind, but he's not going to talk about everything because he's been yapping and complaining. You want to go first or you want me to go first?
I mean, I can go first if you want me to go first. It's not a problem.
I don't care.
Not a problem in the world.
Not a problem at all. You've been cooking on this one, haven't you? You've been sitting on this one.
I mean,
okay.
I've been sitting on this one. And I'm going to throw on the hater shades because little hater shade change up this week.
Damn, bro, you look good.
Always looking good on this podcast. It's a requirement to be a host.
Well. Alrighty. 3, 2, 1. Go.
Okay, I think I've established myself throughout the past few weeks as sort of the watchful eye of the media, college football at large, sports in general. I'm the watchful eye, and I look at what they're saying, and I decipher, and I complain about it when I think something goes wrong. To ESPN and the media at large complaining about Georgia's ranking, saying that they are too low and that they should be above teams like Indiana and BYU, and saying that a 3-loss Georgia team deserves to make it. You are disparaging Indiana and BYU to set up a scenario for your SEC team and your ratings to rise, and that is not okay, and I don't approve of that. And Georgia as a 3-loss team, it is ridiculous. I had to watch ESPN shows today being outraged and saying it makes no sense. How is Georgia 12? Let me tell you something about why Georgia's 12. Because they're not really that good this year. They haven't been that good this year. They don't deserve to be higher. Look at what they've done. They haven't been a good team. And I know you guys don't really watch all the games, and so that's why you're confused because they only have 2 losses. But that's my case. Can I get 30 seconds for another complaint?
Let's do it. Go for it. Clock starts.
Wait. Don't start the clock yet.
Don't
start the clock yet. Ow.
What the heck was that?
Because I have to pull up a graphic for this. Because this.
I'm gonna touch on something real quick while you pull that up. Or actually, no, you're flowing. You keep going.
This isn't even really that much of a complaint. It's kind of a what in the world?
What am I looking at right now?
Bleacher Report posted a graphic of a Carmelo Anthony quote, the basketball player, and I'm dipping into basketball right now because that's how ridiculous this is. Of him on his podcast talking about meeting Stevie Wonder for the first time. And look at what Stevie Wonder said. Stevie Wonder.
I love watching you play.
Stevie Wonder
is a fake blind man.
Blind.
He's fake.
Loves watching Carmelo Anthony play.
Stevie Wonder's not blind.
Can't be.
He can't be.
Can't be blind.
Have you heard Shaq's story?
No.
Shaq walked into an elevator and he was like, "Hey, Shaq," by himself. Now, also, Shaq, there's not really many people built like Shaquille O'Neal.
But how'd he tell? Can't see.
You could probably hover him over him, though. I love watching you play. It's crazy.
I love watching you play. You know what I'm complaining about? Fake blind people. Not chill.
We're going to get canceled.
Yeah, just kidding. Obviously,
but dude,
I believe Stevie Wonder is blind.
Do you?
Sure. I don't know. He loves watching Carmelo.
Supposed to say,
Anthony
I love
play.
listening to you play?
That's what I'm thinking about.
I love smelling you play.
That's I guess where the issue exists and why it can't be the end of the world. However, that graphic will go quadruple platinum.
I like how our last 2 segments in the shows have been a fight on a men's basketball plane and then Stevie Wonder being blind.
I mean, listen, if Stevie Wonder talks about seeing things, I feel like that's got to be a topic.
He's definitely seen some things, dude. Anyways. All right, dude. Gift me your shades, dude, because I am a blind. Okay, wait.
Get to complaining.
Let's see. These better not be oily, dude. Oh, they are oily, dude. They are oily, dude. How can you see through these, dude?
I mean, I don't really use them that much, so I don't.
Don't lie, dude. You use them every day. I don't even know what the joke was with that. Okay.
I don't know. Okay.
You gonna put me on a clock?
Let me throw on the timer. All right. Go ahead now.
Okay. Texas came into the SEC. They lost to Georgia, and in the middle of the game, they had to stop the game because their fan base was throwing things onto the field, and everybody got real mad about it. Blah, 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 whatever, right? And then the refs overturned the call, and then you're like, okay, wait, does that work? Okay, and then everybody ranted about it, okay, and whatever. So then no one really talked about it. Well, it's happened a little bit in other stadiums, but last week, I hope you guys have seen this on social media. Well, I don't hope you've seen it because it sucks. I got 30 seconds. I'm going to get through this. After Utah lost to BYU, someone threw a water bottle that pegged the BYU cheerleader coach in the head and knocked them out on the field. If you throw things on a field where athletes or people are on because you don't like the outcome of a game that you didn't even play in, you are the scum of the earth. You suck. And when Tennessee did it to Lane Kiffin, they sucked too. It's kind of funny, but they sucked because that could have gone horribly wrong. I hate you if you do that. You're ashamed of the sport. You're ashamed to the world. You suck.
Oh, I like that.
It's ridiculous, dude. It's
no
ridiculous.
Disagreement.
And dude, that's not been a thing before. That hasn't been a thing before. And if it has been, it's been under the rug for some reason.
Yeah.
But you suck if you do that.
You do suck.
You suck. I feel like I already talked about how Texas is trying to ban people that threw stuff against Georgia from the stadium. They try to use an AI face scanner thing, whatever.
We have discussed that.
Okay, we have discussed that. Dude, we always get into these weird little yap sessions.
We do.
I think we should just normalize it, dude. I think it's time
I
to
think
just
it is
lean
kind of
into it,
normalized
dude.
at this
45 minutes, 45, 46
Maybe
minutes.
let's not normalize it for this one.
Okay, maybe not this one. Why am I getting an ad for webstaurantstore.com? What is that?
Webstaurantstore.com. You know, there really is only one way to find out.
Webstaurant.
Probably restaurants on the web type thing. What? Digital kitchen timers and clocks. Uh-huh. Oh.
We are not being paid by them, by the way.
No, we're not.
This is not.
That makes sense. They're like a store for restaurant appliances. Seems like a lot of timers, though, and watches.
Dude, I haven't seen one of these since I was a kid, bro.
Yeah, those are...
We have phones now.
We do have phones now.
We need a timer.
Webstaurant might be going out of business soon.
Like Webkins did.
Shout out Webkins. Shout out.
All you kids out there.
Shout out Pop Tropica.
Chromacopia.
Shout out Club Penguin.
If you're in Gainesville, come see my show tonight.
Pull up.
That's all we got for this episode 18.
Yep.
We'll definitely have a very interesting episode come Tuesday morning. We'll hit both of our locks. Simple.
We'll
see what the SEC looks like. It's wrapping up, man.
Yep.
It's wrapping up.
Wow. Only really 2 more weeks after this one.
I'm going to say it. Go Buffs.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Go Buffs,
dude.
Go Buffs. Make it fun.
Make it fun.
Dion.
Let's go, Dion. I mean, I've already discussed my
new
affinity.
Coach of the Cowboys after this season. Alrighty. We will catch you guys Tuesday morning. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. We got YouTube Shorts out now,
We are posting YouTube Shorts now.
Dude, we are loving the comments.
Loving the comments.
Coming. Alrighty. We will catch you guys in the next one.
See you.